talk about the playoffs. So we're going to talk about what are your rankings looking like right now? Where do you see them going at the end of the season?
All right. So if I had to give like a top 6, and this is purely based off of what teams have done to this point, not who I think is actually the best. Like if I was an AP voter or whatever they do, this is like who my top 6 would have been. I would go Alabama. Then I would go Notre Dame. Then this is tough. This is very tough.
Oh, lots of good teams.
Lots of good teams. Yeah, because then it's like, do you drop Clemson out because they don't have their players?
Well, I think that's where the question of how does it change going forward comes in.
Yeah.
So if you think Clemson works their way back up into the playoff picture, then
yeah. So I guess I'll put Texas A&M up there right now because their only losses to Alabama, and they beat Florida, who's playing really well now. The Big 12's out. The Pac-12 I'm not even going to consider. And then I'll put Ohio State number 3. Yeah, I guess that's my top 4 with Florida and Cincinnati just outside. So let me go through that again just because I was a little all over the place. I'll go Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Florida, Cincinnati.
All right. I respect that. What I don't respect is the lack of Cincinnati love. I'm a big Power 6 guy. So I'm gonna agree with you. Bama number 1. I'm actually gonna put Ohio State at number 2, just because all my homies hate Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So for Notre Dame at 3. Yeah, I know he's listening.
Oh yeah.
But they're gonna have lots of time to listen. They're all getting COVID this week, but we'll get on that later. Yeah. So Bama, Ohio State, Notre Dame. I'm going Cincy number 4, A&M 5, Clemson 6.
All right.
I'm putting Cincy up there. I think they have the best resume out of any team up there right now. Undefeated 6-0 right now. They have wins over ranked teams in Army and SMU, and they've looked dominant in pretty much every game they've played. So for those of you who aren't on the Cincinnati hype train yet, do your research and get on it.
Yeah, Purdue money line and Cincinnati money line, and you'll be a millionaire by the end of the year.
Yep, parlay every week. It's gonna hit. Trust me.
All right, moving out of kind of what we think the rankings are right now to what we think the rankings will be. Who do you think is going to be that 4 in the playoffs at the end of the year, and who might be the 2 that are just outside?
I think I'm gonna lock in Bama, Ohio State, and Clemson.
I agree.
As my top 3. I think the committee kind of overlooks what happened this week against Notre Dame, puts Clemson in, especially when they have a conference title to go with it.
Yeah.
I think you knock Notre Dame out. I think they slip up somewhere along the way and they get knocked out. So for me, my that number 4 spot kind of comes between Cincy and A&M for me. Mm-hmm. And it's just a matter of how badly does the committee want to put a Power 6 team in there.
Yeah.
If they're like us, if they're Power 6 believers, I think they go Cincinnati. And this is all assuming Cincinnati goes undefeated, has a conference title on their resume. And then against a 1 or 2 loss A&M team that either doesn't play in the SEC championship or loses in it. And, if they somehow win in it, then throw them in. But that's entirely another thing we could get onto. We're not going to talk about that because it's out of the question. But I would put Cincy over A&M, given those 2 resumes. That would be my 4: Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, Cincy, with A&M, and I'll go like BYU right outside. I like BYU.
All right, so I'm gonna agree with you on the top 3. I think Alabama, I don't think they'll lose again. Ohio State, I don't think they'll lose. Clemson, I think they won't lose again, and they'll beat Notre Dame in the conference championship. So I think the committee's going to, like you said, value Clemson coming back with having their full team and beating Notre Dame later in the season. The committee tends to have like a little bit of like a recency bias. They really favor conference championships and stuff like that. So I think a conference champion Clemson definitely gets in over Notre Dame losing in the conference championship. And then like you said, that 4 spot's really the one that's up for grabs right now. If you're going down like conferences, like I said earlier, the Big 12's not getting in, the Pac-12's not getting in. So that really leaves you either get another team from the Big Ten, another team from the SEC, another team from the ACC, or you go to the Power Six, like we were talking about. And I'm gonna make a bold pick here. Mark my words, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Wisconsin at number 4. Because I
So-
don't think the committee wants to put in a team outside of the Power 5, right?
Okay.
And Texas A&M is not going to get a chance to play in the SEC championship because they're behind Bama, right? And Bama's not going to lose again, right? Florida's going to pick up another loss with, they're going to play Bama in the conference championship. Wisconsin can go undefeated, assuming that the Big Ten picks it up a little bit. They can get ranked wins against Northwestern. And if their only loss is to a number 2 Ohio State team, I think the committee might put them in, especially if it's in a conference championship and it's close.
I can respect that. So, I mean, now that you said that, I think we have to talk about how the committee is going to handle these COVID teams, especially in the Big Ten, since they don't have time to reschedule these teams that have games that got canceled. So, I mean, Wisconsin, they've only played 1 game so far. If they have, significantly less games on their resume than another team, but they're undefeated with the exception of a loss in a Big Ten championship. How does the committee look at that? Like, do you put a 1-loss Wisconsin team that has played less games over maybe a 2-loss team, like a 2-loss SEC team? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I think honestly the committee just isn't going to value it very much. I think they're mostly going to look at what their losses are, how good were the quality of losses, and when did they happen, and then they'll look at the best wins like usual. I honestly don't think they'll even take it into account. I think they'll kind of treat it just like they beat like a pretty bad team. So in a way, I could see how it could favor a team like Wisconsin because now they don't have an opportunity to slip up against a team like that, like Purdue, that's pretty dangerous right now. They're undefeated right now. So Wisconsin just kind of goes by. They don't have a mark on them either way, whether it's a win or a loss. So the committee really doesn't have anything that they can hold against them. Whereas in the SEC, you've got more of a chance to slip up, which is one of the reasons why I think Wisconsin actually has a solid chance to get in that top 4, at least into that top 6. Because if you look at the rest of that schedule, they've got Michigan, Northwestern, and IU all left. So Northwestern's ranked right now. IU's ranked 10th. Michigan, I kind of feel like they'll right the ship a little bit and maybe get back to at least 500. So that's not a horrible team. Same thing with Minnesota. They'll play Minnesota later. I think Minnesota will be all right by the end of the year. So if you look at those quality of wins, I think that if their only losses to the number 2 Ohio State team, that I like Wisconsin. So I really don't think the committee is going to, at least for missing games, I don't think the committee will hold it against that team as much as maybe they should. As far as missing players, like how Clemson was, I think that they will take that into account very heavily.
Okay. I can get behind that. My hate for these COVID teams. I don't want to see them succeed.
Yeah, I do too.
So it hurts to say that there's a chance that one might make it in, but that's the reality we live in, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough. I'm tired of talking about Wisconsin. We're going to move on.